everyone, it's Rick Passek, FlyFish Fanatic, and welcome to my tying bench. It's Sunday morning here, early September. I'm in central Alberta. I was just out fishing last couple days here and done really well on water boatman. So here we go. That's what I figured we'd tie is water boatman here. This is one I've been playing with for several years, and this is it's a fairly simple pattern, but it was definitely the key this week. We had a couple of really slow days, and then it was hot and calm, and then the wind picked up, and the water temperature actually went from 76 down to 63 overnight. And the fish just turned right onto water boatmen, and they just loved this pattern. So let's get her going. So, starting in the vise, we have a Hens BL599, size 12, with a red plastic bead. We're going to use Semperfli Nanosilk in black. We are going to use for the tail some Semperfli Crystal Pearl for the tail. For the back, shell back, we're going to be using some Pearl Scud back from Hens. I think this is the best stuff out in the market right now for Scud back. They've come in so many different colors and lots of really good um, highlights in it and stuff. So there's that. And then for the body, I'm going to be using some Krystal Chenille in silver metallic from H&H. I also, if you want one that's not quite as zingy and shiny, I really like this the Pearl Chenille in white from Semperfli. And then I will be using some of the new Sili legs from Semperfli in a Peacock green barred for the legs. And that's it. It's a pretty simple pattern. So start our thread. As always, nip it off. Take your strand of the Krystal Flash, Crystal Pearl in this case, and it depends how many strands you want, but I double it over and then I double it over again, and then I will tie it in about the halfway point of the flash and fold it over and have all of that going back. Now, I will tie some with this amount. I'll tie some with half this amount. Um, it all depends on what I want. I like having some that have a little bit more flash, some that have a little bit less flash in the tail. So it just depends on what the fish are wanting, right? So then I'll cut it about a half an inch long. So make sure that's focused a bit better. Then I will take the, I thought I had a piece out. Yeah, I do. The Pearl Scud back. This is kind of a blacky green kind of color. And I'm just going to back forward and then tie it in. All the way back to where you tied in that tail, roughly where your barb would be if you had a barbed hook. And just tie that all back. Take my silver metallic chenille, tie that in all the way back, again to where you tied it, stop tying in your scud back, and then come back forward. And I've tied so many of these, I know this is going to be 5, maybe 6, but probably 5 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'll do 6. Because you want it right tight up against that bead. You don't want to leave a space there because it just doesn't look right. So get off my chenille, leave my scud back out of the way, take my Sili legs, and I'm going to leave it about an inch and a half sticking out the one side. It doesn't really matter for length right now. I just want to make sure I have enough. Okay, so 2 or 3 turns on top, a couple in front. Then I want to make sure I pull that down to the side a bit. And then I'm going to actually take this and just fold it across like this and then tie it in. I'm just going to fold it across and I'm stretching it a bit just so I don't add bulk right behind the head. 3 on top, 3 in front, a couple more on top, another one in front. And then I'm just going to roughly cut this length, just roughly. I still have enough for another one, and that's already the third one I cut out of one piece of Sili leg. Just going to put a couple of turns in front. Then I'm going to take my Scud back over, and one nice tight, 2, 3. And you see when you do that, it automatically pushes those legs forward. That's what you want. So then 1, 2, 3. Nip off my pearl, pearl Scud back. A couple more turns in front. Get my whip finishing tool out. Move those legs out of the way. 3-turn whip finish. A little bit of Sally's. When you're fishing these, I strip fairly fairly aggressive, short little strips, little 1-inch, 2-inch strips, fairly quick with definite pauses, 5-second pauses or so. And quite often, as soon as you start stripping again, bang, that's when you get the hits. So I do these on a dry line, shallower water. I fish usually 2 to 8 feet with these. So now I'm going to take these and I'm going to just without stretching, come back to the tail, end of the tail and cut it. Come back to the end of the tail and cut it. You want them fairly equal length because these will spin when you're casting if you don't. And you definitely want them to be nice and like long enough that they're at the end of the tail, because if you take a look at, I'll try to add it to this video. I took some really good shots of Boatman in a throat sample. Their legs are really long, so you want to be able to imitate that. So yeah, that is the finished fly. This thing was really deadly for us under a washing line. We had a gurgler at the point, and then a water boatman in the middle, and then a spider or something like that at the top. And it was just deadly, especially when it was a little bit windier and choppier and cooler. The weather really was strange. The first day was just super hot and dead calm, and fishing was terrible. The very next day, it went from 75-degree surface temperature, 76, I think it was surface temperature, down to 63 overnight, and it was windy, and it made all the difference. We employed the drogue a few times, did some anchoring, did some wind drifting, and it was just deadly. So, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you did, give her a thumbs up. If you subscribed, awesome. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. Getting darn close to the 3,000 subscribers, and we'll have another giveaway at 3,000. We did one at 2,500, did one at 2,000. We'll do another at 3. So, yeah, just subscribe, let your buddies know, and height lines, everyone. Get out on the water, catch some fish.